Alright guys, March Errata comes out today. They made it just barely in time for March to keep on pace with their schedule, but I'm not complaining. Errata's always like Christmas morning. Let's get right into it. Let's start off with Alchemists. They nerfed 3 cards across 2 models. Alchemists, we really deserved a nerf. I don't really agree with how they did it, but let's get into the nitty-gritty of it. Vetcat lost 1 inch of jog, so can only go 5 inches off Lure of Gold now. Totally fine. Burst of Fumes does only 1 damage, not 2. I don't really like this change. I don't think it's enough. I think you still have to play Vetcat every single round. I still think we will see absolutely 0 normal Catalyst, despite the fact that normal Catalyst is a pretty good model. Kind of sucks overall. It just feels bad. So essentially how I see this playing out is he lost 1 inch of threat when combined with Midas, which is still how you will see him primarily. And in normal situations, he lost 3 damage over the course of his activation. But his ideal scenario is way, way worse, where he can set up an almost dead model, put it to 6, which is pretty reliable for Cat. You can just jog there, and then put somebody to 6. If you then can attack, jog to where you're engaging that model and attack some other model that you can potentially just kill, it can allow you a double takeout on the top of turn 2. That Magical Christmas land is pretty much gone, or it's significantly harder because it means you have to put the guy to 3, which means that it has to be kind of 2 really soft models next to each other. So that's kind of tough. I wish they had done more to really just obliterate Catalyst. And if it had been me altering it, I'd have massively altered the playbook to reduce his damage, rather than reducing Burst of Fumes, because I think Burst of Fumes is the cool part of him. It's the setup-y part that I really like, but it's probably fine overall. They then nerfed Soma and Numa. Soma's Raging Fire costs 2. Numa can no longer recover hit points. It's important to note here this cannot use the Recover or the Come On Mate or the... God, I can't remember what they renamed the abilities to. The 2 things, you can still shake conditions, I think is what I'm trying to say. So no longer, she can't just knock down Numa and be you're donezo. But not being able to recover hit points means that there is a hard time limit on this legendary. Or at least harder than there was before. Raging Fire costs 2 is an enormous nerf to Soma. I would have rather they done a million things. I actually think... So the issue is, I think Soma's actually fine. I think the problem is how she interacts with Vetcat. I wish they had just obliterated Vetcat and left Soma, because I think Soma actually has legitimate play in an all-fire list. But because of the strength of Alchemist Squaddies at the moment, that list isn't nearly as viable as what you could be playing elsewhere. And now that Raging Fire costs 2, it means that you have to pick between using Raging Fire and using Nitro, which I think puts her firmly in 3rd place amongst the Alchemist captains. Now, the other Alchemist captains don't do what she does nearly as well. The ability to have 2 unbelievably strong beaters in the list is really cool, but she just, I think Midas covers all of the matchups you would want Soma in, and Smoke covers all of Midas's weak matchups pretty well. I don't know why you would ever deviate from that pairing now, especially since Vetcat is still just as viable as he was. It hurts, especially because Soma's the new toy. And I'm also sad we didn't get something along with it, but that's not really how they did anybody else. So overall, I think it's fine to tap Alchemists down. I don't fully agree with how they did it. I think they, nerfed one of the coolest toys and left the thing that everybody was really sick of, that was too strong, still very, very viable. Alright, moving on, Blacksmiths. Good lord, if you don't own a Blacksmiths team and they're on sale somewhere, pick up Blacksmiths. Burnish, Flame Belch is now 4 damage and is once per turn. It's essentially a slightly better version of Chili Cook-Off. Right? It's just 2 inch range farther, And obviously, I can't benefit from the owner. And reduction removes conditions and doesn't apply burning anymore. It was always kind of silly that it applied burning. It meant that alchemists, Burnish was supposed to be the anti-alchemist character, and all of his tech always kind of seemed to not quite fix the problems they had with alchemists. And each errata they fixed some of his lacking parts of that, where he used to only stop character plays that targeted, and no alchemist plays target, or the vast majority of alchemist plays don't target. And they fixed that, and now reduction removes conditions that doesn't apply burning, which is the condition you're trying to remove against alchemists largely. Alright, next up we got cast. Good lord, this playbook rework is the dumbest thing I've ever seen. She now has Momentous 2 and Guild Ball combined on 2. And her Momentous 3 became a Momentous 4. And then on the back of her card, she gained a trait reducing the counterattack. Essentially, Bright Shield, an enemy model that declares a counterattack against this model suffers -1 attack for the duration of the counterattack. So she's harder to counterattack, which is pretty good for a 1-inch melee model. But she already kind of had Swift Strikes to kind of protect her from that. But it's fine, Cast isn't a model that's seen very much. But good lord, that result on 2 is just the dumbest thing I've ever seen. 2 Guild Ball and 2 Momentous is silly when you consider that she has Shield Throw, which does 2 damage. So once per turn, she can do 4 damage on 2. Now, this guild has tooled up, which means if she's tooled up once per turn, she can do 6 damage on 2. Right. And then also has Burning Passion, so if they're on fire, it becomes 7 damage on 2. Are you effing kidding me? Did anyone put this on the table? What is going on? And then you're oh, but she's a 1-inch melee model, you can just push her out. Well, she's 4-1, can be 4-2 because she's a Blacksmith's model. Counterattacking, she's your -1 attack, so let's say you're attack 6 with a double push on 2. Right? She comes up, she attacks you, you counterattack, and she shield glares you instead of doing the shield throw, meaning that you're now -2 attack, and the +1 defense means she's more likely to hit the higher stuff on her playbook. This model is probably going to completely replace Sledge. This thing is insane. I think your go-to Blacksmith default is going to be, at least apprentice-wise, is going to be Vet, Cinder, Cast, and Cutlass. Right, and then you're going to play Culverin and 2 other guys based on what you want to do. Cast is just bananas. On top of the fact that she's still kind of a terrifying striker, where you can go in, hit the 2 damage shield throw, right? Scatter the ball of somebody else, take your Swift Strikes over towards the ball, maybe grab the ball. She's really, really nuts. Man, Blacksmiths are going to be an absolute terror. Alright, next up we got Cinder. Cinder gained a defense, is base 4 defense now. She gained Searing Strike, lost Unpredictable Movement, so now Kindled gives her a free attack. On the back of her card, she gained Searing Strike, which moved it out of Kindled, so she doesn't need to be Kindled or have her apprentice thing for her -1 armor against. So she doesn't have to apply her debuff if she's near her master. Instead, she gets a free attack when she does it. So she can potentially have 5 attacks, which makes her actually pretty good. I think the main way you're going to still see her as this kind of tech piece. I don't know if I'm kidding. You're not going to see her. You're going to see Vet Cinder every single time. This is actually interesting as a battery model where you get your free attack. Maybe as your 3rd apprentice, where you're still on the Sledge bandwagon, so you're going to play a Sledge Cast build. Maybe you can play Cinder, but I don't know why you wouldn't just play Vet Cinder. Alright, Ferrite. Ferrite got +1/+1 move. And the legendary went back to being a pulse. Ferrite used to be the go-to captain for Blacksmiths once upon a time, back when they were really, really goal-scoring focused and didn't have kind of the insane damage output they have now. I think Blacksmiths are insanely adaptable now. Ferrite is going to see some play. The ability being a pulse instead of an aura is huge. And I think this is going to bring her back into play, and Iron back into play, and Alloy back into play in like a ball scoring list where you just know you can't outfight your opponent, so you're going to try to ball on them. I think it's really, really clever. Alright, next up we got Brewers. That Decimate nerf out of nowhere. So I kind of get it. Most Brewers players play the core of like Spigot, Hooper, Vet Decimate. Vet Decimate was starting to fall out of favor, my understanding. I know Pat was still largely playing her. The nerf is very minor. Duelist Lunge is now a 1-inch dodge instead of a 2-inch dodge. I'm glad they didn't just take it away. I think they should move all Brewers to having heroics as it's part of like their identity. And I think that's cool. I'm not sure. So I think she will see less play, but it has nothing to do with this nerf, and we'll get to that later. Alright, next up we have Esther's. Esther's gained a new character play. This new character play is called Voice of Command. Costs 2, 4-inch pulse. Friendly models within this pulse suffer a 3-inch push directly away from this model. Who cares? I don't see... So it's like a threat extender. So now she is the captain that can make people go the farthest. That's cool, I guess. I don't know. I still feel like you're on Tapper the vast majority of the time. In a vacuum, Corker being the best captain, assuming they let you get to turn 3 before they start interacting. Because if that's the case, Corker is far and away the best captain. But I don't think they do, so you're forced to play Tapper and Esther's. I don't think Voice of Command changes how much Esther's is played. Aria went up to a 6-inch aura, and her heroic play Soothing Voice went up to a 4-inch aura. These are more just like quality of life things. It lets you play the bubble a little bit wider, which is nice. I don't think any of them vastly change Esther's power level. They just change how easy she is to play. The issue is she still like desperately needs attack buff, like to hand out. Like if she had, what is it called, Pick Me Up now? Bag of Coffers was renamed Pick Me Up. I think if Esther's had Pick Me Up, so she could have 2 Pick Me Ups, I think she'd see play. But until then, I don't think Esther's going to see any play. All right, and now the exciting one, Pint Pot. All right, let me pull up my notes here because I have no idea what Pint Pot did before. Let's see what he does now. So his momentous 1 damage push on 1 is gone. It's now momentous knockdown, unmomentous 2 damage push. So knockdown came down 1, damage went up, lost momentum. He still has the momentous push on 2. The momentous Guild Ball on 3 is now joined by a momentous 3 damage push. So that came down 1, and now at the very top of his book on 5, he has momentous 3 damage double push. Insane playbook improvements. That's really, really good. 6-pack has been reworded largely just to I don't think it functionally changes, just allow, essentially most of the wording that needed to be on 6-pack is now just on the Brewers play card, where just beer tokens are a thing that they do. Essentially 6-pack is just reworded to save space, because they don't need to have all the words there because it's on the main card. Right, but the thing that's exciting is he gained Taunt. When an enemy model ends, it's an active trait, sorry. When an enemy model ends in advance, choose an enemy model within 2 inches of this model. The model suffers a 1-inch push directly towards this model. So this, at the very least, extends Pintbot's threat by 1. It also makes him able to interact with unpredictable models. I think Pintbot probably replaces Decimate in a lot of matchups. It's hard because I don't play Brewers and I don't understand them super well. But this guy is super influence efficient because he comes with all that free influence to start. And then has a really, really amazing trait that lets him help start engagements. I think Pintbot is going to get rotated into the standard 4 squaddies or the standard 3 squaddies. I think what remains to be seen still is whether he pushes Decimate out of her guaranteed spot or he just pushes her into she's in the flex spot anytime they don't have to kill the ball. Right? So I think, is she going to push her into the flex spot or is she going to push Decimate just out completely and they'll just not play Decimate anymore? I think it's hard to tell, but this is probably the most exciting thing Brewers have gotten since Curkov. Or maybe since the Tapper buffs. I can't remember which one happened last. But yeah, that's good. Alright, let's get into the thing that this is maybe the top 2 things I am excited about, is they vastly buffed the 2 Engineers captains that aren't played. So, Engineers definitely have 3 captains now. I'm not sure they're better than Rivet, but I am really excited to play both of these. So first of all, Ballista. Tons of people, since I've started playing the game, have told me that Engineers are my playstyle, that I should be playing some kind of Ballista gun line based on the uninteractive way I like to play Smoke, and they have a lot of the same tools. For God's sake, they have Compound as well. So I'm really excited to try out Ballista. So Ballista had a slight change to his playbook. His Momentous Guild Cup, or whatever it's called, his Momentous Cup on 4 now comes with 2 damage. Which means you're actually going to put up Minefield. Like, a lot. When Ballista goes to kill a model, he's probably going to, knock them down, and then be hitting that 2 damage Momentous until he spikes to the 4, and then do the Momentous 2 damage cup to help protect himself, and lower the damage of people coming in on him, and then maybe switch to the 3 damage if he needs to. The other thing is that Minefield now only costs 1 to put up. So it's easier to put up before the lines engage. I think Ballista is a lot more of a monster in melee. And it's not just a straight damage increase, because it's not a damage increase at all. It's a tech increase. Minefield is essentially free now if you can hit column 4. Really, really like that change. And then Momentous Inspiration has changed. You get a free bonus time when you are within the aura. So it still generates an aura when you damage someone with a character play. But you get a free bonus time on each character play. So why this distinction is important, it's not once per turn. So if I have somebody like Salvo who's going to shoot a bunch of times while in the aura, he can get a bonus time on every character play he makes. But someone like Ratchet can't bonus time every single attack in an AoE he throws. He gets to pick one of them, and he gets free bonus time for that one. That's really, really good. Man, this makes me really miss that. So I love the way Smoke was redesigned. But Momentous Inspiration would be so good in Alchemist. It's free bonus time on blinds. Oh, I want it so bad. I'm really excited to play Ballista. I don't own an Engineers team. I'm going to look into owning an Engineers team. I really like this change. I can't wait to try this guy out. Alright, next. Pin Vise. Another exciting captain update. God, this is Engineers Christmas. This is so, so good. Alright, so she has a Momentous Tackle on 1 now. Right? Instead of the 1 damage on 1. It's a Momentous Tackle. Right? Way better at being a striker. Right? Her 1 damage is on 2 now, with a dodge and Momentous. Really, really good. So when you hit column 2, if you only need the single dodge, you can take the momentum of the single dodge and get a free damage, or you can take the unmomentous double dodge. This makes her playbook feel so much better. On 4, she picked up Momentous Tackle Dodge, which is really exciting. Everybody knows that 1-inch melee strikers love Momentous Tackle Dodge. I like that they didn't put it on 1, because that's a nonsense result that I don't think belongs on something that can hold 6 influence. But I do like that 1-inch melee strikers have access to a Momentous Tackle Dodge. I think that's one of the strongest results you can have. Having it on 4 here, I think makes it pretty cool to if you're charging a model that's 1-inch melee and has a relevant counterattack, it lets you Momentous Tackle Dodge your way out of there. Controller got reduced by 1. in its cost. Yeah, sorry. Controller got reduced by 1 in its cost, so it's cost 2 now. This makes it easier for her to take a squatty-style activation goal run, where she controllers someone and then goes for a 4 influence squatty-like activation, and then immediately threatens to snap the ball back in again after she gets that goal. That's really, really exciting. I like that a lot. And then she lost her legendary, which is like, oh, sad, her legendary was kind of fun, right? And picked it up as a trait on a once per turn. This is such a massive improvement that I am so freaking excited about. So she has Well-Oiled Machine. Once per turn, when a friendly model receives a successful pass, the friendly model may immediately make a pass without spending influence, instead of using pass and move or making a snapshot. This is exciting. I'm super into this. This team is so insanely mobile, and it's so reliable because like everybody has 4 kick dice. This is so cool. It's like it's literally free on my mark. It's 3 influence worth of stuff. It's like, yeah, it's not literally on my mark because you can't use it on like counterattacks and stuff, but this is a banana trait that is really defining of her. Like, she has such crazy ball out of activation movement. Like, good lord, this is insane. I'm excited about Pin Vise. Man, this is going to be good. Bye-bye, Rivet. I'm playing Pin Vise Ballista. This is going to be a ton of fun. The bad news for engineers is Salvo got nerfed. I think this is targeted more at miners, because miners are still, despite being a miner guild, are still sitting right at the top of the win rate. Not literally on top, but they're like, I think Shaft's win rate is like 2nd or 3rd best in the game. So Salvo lost the top end influence, which is sad because it means he can't throw 3 character plays sitting in Ballista Aura. But on the other hand, I still think he sees play. It sucks, but he's still really, really good. Alright, moving on. This is the other one I'm really excited about, because I am a Steeljaw player. I bought a team. I only bought the pieces that Steeljaw wants. I have no desire to play Scatha or Theron. And oh my god, she got a new piece. Matagi buff. So, Matagi is now a 2-3 influence, so he lost the top end influence, and he gained 2 hit points. Alright, we're going to come back to why I don't think that top end influence is a nerf, even though it appears to be one at the time. Alright, moving on. His Momentous Guild Ball that was on 2 is now paired with his dodge on 1. So he has Momentous Guild Ball dodge on 1, which means he super reliably puts that Harrier out. Oh, that's so good. And then his Unmomentous Tackle on 3 went down to 2, which means he's the best Far Strike tackle in the game. Like, that's really good. It's really good. And then the best part is he doesn't have Far Strike anymore. He now has Hawkeye. And Hawkeye means he does it without spending influence. So he just has a free attack. This is an enormous buff. Man, this guy is scary. Right, just a free 6-inch range momentous making attack that can put down a Harrier if you needed to, and doesn't cost you influence. Like, the influence efficiency is insane. He still brings 2 influence. Matagi's going to see play. Like, he's still made of glass, like, don't get me wrong, but 2 hit points goes a long way in this game. Also, the fact that Matagi has some, like, real money on his playbook. Like, the column 4, where you get to put down a Harrier and do 2 damage, and it does bleed, is still, like, a crazy good result. I'm excited about this guy. And then keep in mind, when you pair him with Steeljaw, he can still drop traps and be fairly safe depending on how you interact with stuff. I like this guy a lot. I can't wait to put him on the pitch. Alright, now we're getting into the nitty-gritty of some more nerfs. Miner saw some major nerfs. You're coming with me on Fisher. Now requires you to be base contact instead of within 1 inch, and it's placed in base contact after you jump. Right? This is a pretty significant nerf, but in all honesty, miners need it. We have to they're the most balling guild in the game, and they have an insanely high win rate. You make like 1 or 2 mistakes against miners, and it's over. And I say that playing the 2 best ball control guilds in the game. Like, I am an Alchemist and a Morticians player. No one controls the ball like Alchemists and Morticians. And while I think our matchup is favorable against these guys, you still can make a mistake and it's over. I can't imagine trying to play a guild that has no ball control against these idiots. All right, this is deserved. And I still think you play Fisher, like every single game. Like, it's, oh, what a nerf. Mule, he lost all his momentous damage, right? And all his momentous pushes, right? So he has momentous knockdown, and he has momentous guild ball for throw or lockdown. This is a pretty big nerf. I'm not sure you play Mule every single game. Like, the model's still ridiculous, and is still, like, one of the hardest things in the game to kill. But, man, that's big. Oh, also, lockdown doesn't do -1 tack anymore. It just does the -4/-4 move. So it only protects your team in terms of threat range. It doesn't make it, like, even harder to kill Mule. I'm not sure he still sees play. He's seen some stuff, man. I don't know. I'm interested to see where they shake out. Like, 3 of their 8 models got nerfed this patch. I'm interested to see where miners shake out. The plus side is a lot of their really key pieces went untouched. Fisher being the most key piece they got touched. Mule was played a lot, but just because he was ridiculous, I didn't think they didn't have other options. So I still think you'll see Spade every single game, Fissure every single game, obviously Shaft and the Mole every game, and the last 2 slots, I'm interested in seeing where that flexes out, whether that's based on matchup or what happens. I think you're going to see a lot more Fuse. I think Fuse is kind of underrated right now. And with Mule and Salvo getting hit, I think you're going to see Fuse a ton. I think he's pretty good now. Even with these nerfs, I don't expect miners to fall below 50% win rate in this patch. So let's move on. Navigators. Thank God. Thank frickin' God we're buffing Navigators. Oh my God. They're so bad. Here we go. Okay. Azimuth. Top end influence. That's insane. He's your best attacking model that's not named Fathom. Right? That's really good. He's your highest tech model. He gets the most out of rerolls. He's really, really good. Right? And he's your control piece. Him being able to make an extra attack is really nice. I like it a lot. His playbook was also improved. He has a non-momentous push on 2, right? And his momentous double push came down a column. So a lot more utility, can do a lot more on the wraps or when he has not a very good roll. I like that a lot. And then the other one they buffed is Ebb. Smooth the Way is now triggerable off his guild ball. And no longer, and like, it's just like, so it's keeping the name. And it doesn't do, like, you can move or sprint over obstructions anymore. It just gives enemies -2/-2 movement. So he has, like, this little control element now in it, which I think is pretty good. Sorry, it's also not called Smooth Away. It's called Grasping Earth now. I don't know what I'm doing here. Right? So it's Grasping Earth, and it's -2/-2. Sprung a Leak. Sprung a Leak was last patch. That's the same ability again. He gained a new aura called Sharp Eyes, 4-inch aura. When a friendly model begins its activation within the aura, the friendly model gains anatomical precision only during the activation. This is like a nuts ability that would just be insane in any other guild. It's just free anatomical precision in a 4-inch aura. And it's worded like times called, so you start in it and then you have it for your whole activation. This is kind of nuts, and it also wildly changes what navigators are good into because of how Ebb works. So, because of Ebb having both Sprung a Leak, where you can give a target model -2 arm, and everyone in the guild that's near him has anatomical precision, means that guilds, they just care about your def stats. Or just your defense. They don't really care about your armor as much anymore. If you have just one armor, they don't care. And if Ebb can throw Sprung a Leak on you, They don't care at all. They would much. I think farmers are now like are no longer Magical Christmas land for them, unless they're playing Windle. Obviously, then they know set up to like just go bananas. But I think that like guilds that rely on their armor, like Masons, to protect them from these guys, are now kind of their best matchup. It's tough because I kind of don't think this is enough. Like the Asmuk changes are good. And the ebb changes are unbelievable. Like, they're super good. But I kind of don't think that it's enough. I'd love to be wrong. I kind of want to see where they shake out. But I still think that they have some pretty rough playbooks and they're going to kind of struggle. Alright, and finally, we got Greed nerf. So Greed lost attack. He's not printed TAC 5, where he's effectively always TAC 6 because of shelling out. He's printed TAC 4, always TAC 5. Forward minions now costs 3 and is an aura instead of a pulse, meaning that your positioning restrictions are a lot more strict. Before, Greed could pulse forward minions out and then just like sprint forward and get to a spot where he could apply the shelling out aura. Now he's got to make sure he's really hanging on to all his friends when he puts up forward minions. This is going to affect him a lot on turn 1, where like either his team has to play way tighter to him to be able to benefit from the thing after he jogs forward, and it's going to make that like insane threat range harder because the +2/+2 doesn't stay on, let's say, Fangtooth. Fangtooth has got to stay near Greed to get it. So forward minions is like bad times called now. It's cost 3 instead of a momentum, and it's 6 inches instead of 4. I think this is going to significantly impact how easy Greed is to play, but not really his overall power. It's kind of hard. The forward minions change is enormous. The attack thing is kind of whatever, but the forward minions change, specifically the cost, or it going to an aura, is a big deal. I'm really interested to see where this makes him shake out. So, with that, I'm going to wrap this up. What did you guys think of the Errata? What models are you really excited to play? Do you think that they should have buffed Thresher? I'm surprised there was no Thresher buff. Right, where is it, Bryce? Just let me know what you guys are thinking. And then, if you're new here, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell to make sure you know when I put up stuff. I'm Vincent Curkov, and this was a snapshot of the March Errata.